right. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but here we go. We got the summer league. Summer league just started on Friday, or actually a little bit before that, but officially started Friday for most of the teams. Nick, give us your thoughts on what you've seen in the summer league so far.
It's been crazy. It's been a really interesting summer league over the first, few days. I know for some people they probably been watching since early last week, probably the day before 4th of July when it started out in Salt Lake City and Sacramento and everything. But for those who have been watching, since Friday when the Vegas summer league starts, it's been a blast to just really watch and observe. I guess we can definitely dive into the first, or the number one pick, Victor Wembanyama, who's currently playing right now. He actually has, I think he had like 22 and 11 right now, so definitely a great bounce back game compared to his first game the other night when he played against Charlotte. When he had, what's the numbers at? He had 9 points, 8 rebounds, on 2 of 13 shooting, but he also had 5 blocks. I mean, I want to say I said this like probably like a few weeks ago, but I knew that Wemby was going to have some issues, trying to adjust to the physicality of what the NBA is. I know that this isn't like the actual regular season, but still the summer league is still kind of, the same thing. You're still going to have that physicality. And then, of course, the floor spacing and everything. So I kind of knew that he would struggle from that aspect. But I think some people obviously are overreacting once again. I think Wemby's still a special talent. You see the bounce back game that he's currently having right now. I know that the Spurs are currently losing to the Portland Trailblazers right now. But for him to have this type of double-double performance, it's definitely incredible. So kudos to him. He's able to space the floor. He's able to attack. Obviously with his length, he is a good rim protector. Now, as I've been watching him, I've been kind of just asking myself, is he more of a 5 or is he more of a 4? Because obviously he has the height to be a center, clearly when you're like 7'5", but I think that he has that mobility, and I think obviously, with his floor spacing and his ability to put the ball on the floor, would you want to put him as a 4-man? I mean, it's like, for instance, like you have, let's say for instance, you have a lineup of Victor Wembanyama and I don't know, Jeremy Sohan for the Spurs. I don't know if obviously Sohan's not necessarily a 5, but would that lineup possibly work if you allow Wemby to be more of a 4-man? Being able to space the floor, being able to put the ball on the back, being able to put the ball on the floor, and allow Sohan to be kind of the 5-man. So that's something that I am really interested to see, and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter kind of having that same discussion as well. So I'm really interested to see how Pop can utilize him. Is he going to utilize him to more of how he utilized Duncan during the height of his career, or would he possibly do something different? So I'm definitely interested to see how that could work. But as for Wemby, I've been impressed with what he's seen. Obviously, it is summer league, so he's going to have his ups, he's going to have his downs. He actually just hit a turnaround shot as I'm speaking as of right now. So I mean, early on, he's going to have, he's going to show his struggles. He's going to show like places where he needs to improve upon, but. I think that's what the summer league is for. It's for a lot of these guys to get a feel for what it's like to play at the NBA level, and I love what I'm seeing from him. The second-year player, Brandon Miller, I've seen a lot, some struggles per se, but honestly, I will say this though, I think that he'll be fine as well. One thing that I will say that I think that he needs to do is definitely be more disciplined on defense because the fouling is a little bit crazy. To me, I want to say there was a game where he had 6 fouls in the first half, and obviously in the summer league, I think it's different from regular season. You get up to 10 fouls before you foul out. So, but still, 6 fouls in the first half is just absolutely nuts. But even his shooting to me, because he's shooting 40% throughout the summer league. The thing about it is that I watched the other game when they played the Spurs. He's been getting good looks off the catch and shoot. He's been getting good looks. He's coming off ball screens. Being able to catch the ball in rhythm, but for some reason, they're just not falling. I don't know if it's, possibly, he's not able to shoot at the NBA range as of yet, but I'm hoping that can improve as well. But I'm trying not to overreact to what Brandon Mills is doing. Yes, I'm not going to say he's been playing great, because it's clear that he really has not. But I don't want to consider him like a bust or anything as of yet. I still want to believe in him. There's a reason why he was one of the top scorers in the nation last year playing for Alabama. He's shown that he can play at an elite level, put the team on his back. And I'm still hoping that it can transition to the NBA level. I really believe that it can. I'm still a big fan of him, and hopefully he can adjust as the summer league continues. I want to say it was last night, not last night, the night before. We got a very interesting matchup with the two lottery point guards, Scoot Henderson against Amin Thompson. the Rockets playing against the Trailblazers. Obviously, in that game, Jabari Smith Jr. ended up hitting a game-winning three-pointer. They ended up winning 100-99. But I love what I saw from both guys. Scoot is showing that he's a franchise guy. To me, once Portland drafted him, once they decided, hey, we're not going to get rid of this third pick, that was the call for me. Like, this guy is a franchise guy. That was kind of the sign to me that, hey, Damian Lillard could possibly end up gone, during the offseason. So as I've been seeing from him, I love his ability to create around the mid-range. He's attacking the basket as he was doing at G League Ignite, showing his athleticism, showing his playmaking ability, his court vision, and everything. I think he scored 15 points and 6 assists last night, or in Friday night's game. So he really played impressive. Amin, is once again probably one of the best point guards, to be able to play downhill, get to the basket, but then also being able to pass out of the double team, being able to play make, in transition. So I love what he was able to bring to the table as well. So, both these guys have high potential. Obviously for Amin, his one weakness that he needs to continue to improve on is his perimeter scoring. He is improving somewhat off the catch and shoot, but when you are the primary point guard and you do have the ball in your hands and you're going to have a high usage rate, you're going to have to learn how to be able to create off the dribble and obviously on pull-ups, off of three-pointers, off transition baskets. So that's something that I'm definitely going to want to see from him moving forward. But besides that, you love what you see from this guy. He has high athleticism. He's able to play make. He's able to get at it on the defensive end, being able to close out, being able to be a great on-ball defender. So you love what you see from him as well. And then other guys as well that I've been impressed with. You mentioned him earlier, CJ Keontae George for Utah. That was actually my favorite player last year in college. And man, he put on a show last night against the Clippers. Man, I'm super impressed. He had 33 points and had 10 assists as well. His ability to, once again, kind of like Scoot, being able to create his own shot, being able to play make, being able to find guys, off backdoor cuts and everything. So I love what he was able to bring to the table. Another player as well that I've been impressed with, Jalen Duren, as I mentioned earlier. Man, he shows some flashes, man, on the perimeter. And if he's able to space the floor, even if he's able to put the ball on the floor, that's going to be scary, because even coming into the NBA for Memphis, he wasn't really known as a floor spacer. But if that's what he's been working on throughout the course of this summer, that's going to be really big for him. So I'm really impressed with what he was able to bring to the table. Same thing with James Wiseman, had 16 and 12 last night in that game against Magic. And another guy as well that I've been impressed with, even though he didn't really shoot the ball well, but it was really good to see him, being able to play a pretty good game, was Imani Bates for Cleveland. He had 16 points. Like I said, I know he didn't shoot the ball well. He only shot 27%, which is horrible. But for him, I think there's been a lot of discussion about him. Is if he's able to transition to the NBA level. One of my biggest concerns with Imani is, can he be more of a team player? Because I think obviously he's great one-on-one, but can he allow others to be better? And I think that was always my question from him, even during high school, even during that year with Memphis, and then of course last year at Eastern Michigan per se. So with him having a good game yesterday, and then of course Cleveland getting that win over Brooklyn, I thought that was really impressive. So those are a few guys that I've been impressed with. I've only been watching Summer League for the past 2 days because I've been so caught up with the big three in the NBA or in the WNBA, but I'm excited to dive more into Summer League as it continues on.
For Wembanyama, listen, he struggled in his first game, kind of got some jitters, but he's doing a great job tonight. Knocking down some threes. You see his confidence is definitely rising for sure. But I think a couple things for him. It's he has to get stronger. He has to get stronger because at his size, he has to be able to get to certain spots. He has to be able to get to his spots, and you need strength to get to those spots. You got to get guys off of you to create separation in this league, and so that's a big factor. And for him to be that tall, even though, and I want to make another point too later after I talk about Wembanyama, but about big men in general in the NBA. His ability to get to his spots, he needs to get the basketball much closer to the rim. Guys, if you guys been watching MNC Hoops since I've been here, been over a year now, I say big men, if you're a tall guy, you're a center, you need to excel closer to the paint. Why? Because you're the tallest guy on the court. You're the person that could get to the rim and dunk. and lay the ball up easier than anyone else on the court. So why not use that to your advantage? And with the spacing in today's NBA, you could sink the defense into the paint, which will create easier shots for your teammates. A la Jokic. This is why Jokic won a championship this year because he's not. Can he shoot threes? Yeah, but he's not a 3-point shooter. He's not doing step back threes. He's not, and if he does do it, it's late in the shot clock, or it's just the game is they already blew a team out, and he's doing it for a highlight. Jokic gets his buckets around the rim and closer to the basket from the free throw line, and that's where he gets the majority of his baskets. And I think for someone like Wembanyama, I said this when he got drafted, I said he needs to watch Jokic highlights because that's the best player in the world. And they're the same position. They're the same exact position. You don't need to be watching, whoever some of these guards. You're not a guard. You're not a small forward. You're a center. So I think for the Spurs, for him, I think they need to find ways to get him the basketball much closer to the rim. He's 7'5". He shouldn't be shooting threes. He shouldn't be standing at the 3-point line as much as he's standing at the 3-point line. Set the screen, short rolls, catch the ball at the free throw line, jumpers, free floaters, runners, or if you have a baby on you off a switch, that's a mismatch all day, every day. And he's a good passer too. He's a really good passer. He made some really nice passes tonight. Made some really nice passes on Friday as well in his debut. Secondly, for the Spurs, they need a point guard. They need a Tony Parker. They need someone to make.
Not Trey Jones believer.
I like Trey Jones. I've been a fan of Trey Jones. During when they had Zion, RJ, and Reddish over there at Duke. That was a fun freshman season. That was a fun season for Duke, and that's when he became a fan. I became a fan of his for sure. But if he could be that guy, great. But either way, that's what they need. They need to find a point guard, someone that could get him the basketball, put him in the right positions on the court. Yeah, can he come up with the ball and dribble the ball up the court at times? Sure. Like, you don't want to take that away from his game completely. But more times than not, until he's more comfortable doing that in an NBA setting, because doing that in the league where he did that in is much different than doing this in the NBA. And guys are going to blitz you. And you're taller than everyone else, so that basketball is right there. It's pretty much it's right there for guys to strip and take the ball out your hands. So when you get a point guard like I said, Jamal Murray. This is why Jamal Murray and Jokic, they work so well. They play so well off each other. They need a dynamic guard next to Wembanyama if they want to get to playoff contention. Let's start there. I don't want to say if they want to get to playoff contention, they need a guard, a dynamic guard, future all-star guard, and complement with Victor Wembanyama for them to excel. Case in period. That's just a given. That's what we've seen historically. That's just what we saw last year. So once they get that, then we'll start having real conversations. He's very talented. He had a great bounce back game today. Didn't let the debut, hurt his confidence. Did a great job blocking shots, getting rebounds. I want to see him average double-digit rebounds. Why can't he average 12 rebounds a game? Why is that?
That should be a given.
Why is that a rarity? Why is that? Why should that be a difficult thing to do? 7'5", I just don't understand it. So I need to see him average a double-double in his rookie season, and I could see 2.5 blocks because he's very active. And to your point about whether he should play power forward or center, got to play center. Now, if you're playing zone, okay, you could kind of have him in the corner. He could rotate to the paint and protect the rim there because he does have the length and he is quick for his size. He is very quick. Seeing him move up and down the court, he does have a great ability to create space like that with his speed. But I feel like he could play the pick and roll defense really well. I feel like he could be able to recover, and and get back and be able to contest the big man once he rolls, and still have enough time to show at the guard if his teammate goes under the screen. So he needs to play center, man. This is you should not be playing power forward. You got to figure it out eventually. Figure it out. Don't be like AD, that doesn't want to play center in a league that doesn't even have a lot of dominant bigs. There's only 2 dominant bigs in the NBA. And so you play the 5, bro. This again, you're that tall. That's what you should be doing. You need to be a dominant center in this league. And then my last point about this is not just Wembanyama, this is about big men in general. Before I get to some of the other players in the summer league, it's man, what happened to the big men in this in the NBA? You look at the 80s, the 90s, they were the best players in the league, bro. Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain in the beginning. Then you go to the 80s and the 90s with Olajuwon, Shaq, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett. Now in today's NBA, in a better, what people call a better game, right? It's more modernized. The guys are shooting threes. Why aren't we seeing more skilled bigs? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking you.
Oh no, I mean it's like you say, I think it's more of a skill set thing. So now it's like bigs, like a lot of bigs, they want to be wings now. Like, you look at a lot of guys, like even like, with the way that Embiid plays, like, Embiid doesn't play like your average big to me. I mean, even like a guy like Wembanyama, like, so I think a lot of like, when you grow up and you watch the LeBron Jameses, the Kevin Durant's, the Carmelo Anthony's, Tracy McGrady's, whatever it is, I feel like now everybody kind of wants to be like more of like a wing player. Now, there are some traditional bigs out there that do want to play with that type of style. But I do think, when you look at it from that perspective, but then on top of it, like you say, spacing is very crucial in today's NBA. So you have, especially like nowadays, like you have to be able to space the floor and be able to knock down perimeter shots. I feel like nowadays, like everybody kind of wants to be more of like the guard and more of like the wing rather than, actually be like more of a traditional big, and be able to embrace being in that position.
Look, I'm not against center shooting threes. I'm not against that. And this is what we love to do about Dirk, right? We look at Dirk and we say he's a stretch 4. Yes, he was a tall guy that shot threes, but that's not where he got his money. That's not where he got to his spots. He was a mid-range guy.
Yeah, he was a midi. He was definitely a midi.
Yes. He got the reason why he got the top 10 all time.
I mean, not even just him, like not to cut you off, not even just him, but like KG was a mid-range scorer. Like Tim Duncan, yes. He had the famous bank shot. He was a mid-range scorer as well.
Exactly. It just makes sense for the most of your shots to be closer to the rim because you're taller than everybody else. I just feel like that's just common sense. I mean, if I was that tall, I feel like you standing on the 3-point line, you're helping the defense being that tall. It's like, we don't have to worry about this guy in the paint. He's on the 3-point line. And if he tries to get a rebound, we can just box him out because he's so far from the paint.
And on top of that, they're not as fast. It's like for instance, like you look at Embiid, like like Embiid. Embiid can make threes, but Embiid's like not really like a high percentage 3-point shooter. So if he does take like like a 3 at the top of the key, he's not gonna be able to recover and get like a putback or anything because at the end of the day, you can't trap him, but he's also not that mobile enough. He's not that fast enough to be able to get an offensive rebound after missing a 3.
Yeah, right. And I'm saying, and shooting threes, I'm cool with big guys shooting threes. We've seen Jokic shoot threes every once in a while, and he's not a great 3-point shooter. He's like, he's a solid 3-point, like 30. I think he's like 35, 36. The league average is 36%. So that's good. That's good. But he gets most of his shots and most of his buckets from the free throw end or inside the 3-point line, I should say, because it's everywhere inside the 3-point line. And going back to my point about Wembanyama is that's where he needs to get the majority of his shots. He had 27 and 12 tonight, 3 blocks. And I think he only took 1 3.
And that was why I was asking, like, should Pop mostly use him as more of like how he used Duncan? Because, Duncan got the ball on the block and he was able to operate. He could hit the mid-range shot. He could power his way to the basket using his strength. So that's what I was asking. Like, should he be utilized more from that perspective or another way?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, you can implement some things that they did back in the '90s and in the 2000s for Wembanyama and what they did with Tim Duncan. Obviously, you're going to add a little bit more of a modern type style, but I always felt like the Spurs were a great 3 point shooting team because they were an efficient 3 point shooting team. They didn't just jack up threes. They gave up good shots for great shots. They always made the right passes. They started inside the paint and played inside out. So now those shots became easier. They didn't follow the Golden State route. And this is what happens with these teams and these franchises and these GMs. They see one team win a championship like your squad, the Golden State Warriors. They see them shoot a bunch of threes, and everybody says, "Oh, this is why we need to play basketball." Not necessarily. Stephen Curry is an anomaly. There's only one Stephen Curry. The only person close is Dame, and he's not even that. And he's not close. He's close. He's there, but he's not to the level of Curry. So it's only one Stephen Curry, man. And so you want to build your team. You want to build your team by jacking up threes because you saw the Warriors do it, but you don't have the Warriors personnel. I just never. So teams, these GMs and these franchises, they play this copycat. Oh, they did this, so we're going to do that too, and that's what's going to help us win. And I feel like you should play to the strengths of your personnel. That's what a winning franchise is supposed to do. And for Wembanyama, I think with Greg Popovich and his coaching staff, they're going to play to his strengths. Yes, is he going to shoot threes every once in a while? Sure. But more times than not, I believe most of his shots will be from inside the 3 point line, and that's how it should be. He'll get fouled more. He'll slow the game down. It's perfect. It's perfect. Like I said, 27 and 12 tonight. In the game on Friday, he was just standing at the 3 point line, shooting threes, shooting three. He should not be shooting that many threes. Four. He should be attempting four. That's it.
That's what I'm going to ask. Like, how many should he attempt? Like, I was thinking possibly three. I was thinking around three.
3 to 5. Let's say 3 to 5. Let's meet in the middle with that. 3 to 5 threes. Their other 10 shots should be inside the 3 point line, and then the free throw line, bro. He has a solid form, so he can make free throws. So that's what I see from Wembanyama. Had a great bout. Like I said, he had a great second game tonight, and he just has to keep it up. Confidence, just keep getting better. Keep getting better. I love the way he responded today, even though they lost. But he really picked it up and played well. And I think he impressed a lot of people that were there tonight for sure. Brandon Miller. I'm rooting for him, and I'm rooting for all these guys. I felt like they should have took Scoot Henderson and figured it out. You just figure it out. LaMelo, Scoot, Miles Bridges, and you just make it work. I feel like you could have made that work. I really feel like you could have made, but they went with Brandon Miller. Cool. My thing with Brandon Miller is from what I've seen, he shoots. All he does is shoot. He can't get to the basket. So what does that tell me? That tells me that he also needs to get stronger, so he can be able to embrace contact and get to the basket and knock down free throws. If he's just standing at the 3 point line and he's shooting a bunch of threes, his legs are going to get tired. These guys are human beings. If you're shooting that far out on the court for that many attempts, you're going to get hurt. I mean, you're going to get tired. You're going to get fatigued. So he has to get stronger for these next few months before October gets here. He has to put on a little bit of weight. He has to learn how to navigate through contact to get to the basket so he can get to the free throw line. That's what he needs to work on. He can't just jack up threes. Same thing for Emoni Bates. Same point. It's the same thing. You see them drive, and then you see them drive, and they get stopped because they're not strong enough to keep going, and then they settle for a bad shot. Their footing is all out of place.
Especially when the help defender comes out too.
Help defender comes. Now they have to pass it out, or they're taking an errant shot, and because their footing isn't all together. So that's what I see from him. I like the confidence. Not scared. They miss a couple, but they're still shooting. I like that because some guys, they'll miss a few and they'll just disappear. So I like the fact that he's confident and he's continuing to be aggressive. Now it's just about getting to the right spots, finding your spots on the court where you feel like you can excel the most, And I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. I think he has some really good players around him, and LaMelo and Miles Bridges. They're not asking him to carry the franchise, so I think he'll be good. I think Brandon Miller will be good. All he has to do is just get stronger, and he'll be fine. Scoot Henderson looked great. He looked great. Getting to the you see his frame. He has a more stockier frame than the first two picks, than Miller and Wembanyama. So he could be able to he could blow by contact and be physical, get to the line, get to the rim with ease. And we saw that in that game on Friday. I think he's going to be a good player. One, because he's working out with Steph Curry. Him and Steph Curry have the same trainer.
That's big.
Yeah, that's big time. That's big time, bro. So him and Curry have the same exact trainer, and that's just high IQ, right? Because what did we say about Scoot? We said he needs to work on his shot. He needs to work on his perimeter shot. And so who's your trainer now? Your trainer is the guy that's training the greatest shooter of all time. It's perfect. That's to me, that shows me that he wants to be great. Because now if teams start to sag off, if they go under that screen, he's going to make you pay with the more reps he gets up in the offseason. So I think I'm very high on Scoot Henderson. And as I said, hey, if this trade doesn't go through in the next few weeks or so, I know we dropped the poll. Guys, go vote on that. On maybe think that the trade will happen for Damian Lillard. There's a couple of options there. You guys can give your thoughts on that. I said before trade. I said trade deadline. I've been consistent with it. I voted trade deadline because listen. Like what if they start off the season? What if Scoot is like ready to go right now? Like, what's the point of leaving?
I mean that's true.
What if he's ready to go day one? If he's ready to go day one next to Dame, I know the age gap is like 14 years. I get it, but it's a talent business.
But even then, though, like even if Scoot is ready to go, because I definitely agree with you. I think Scoot will be ready to go. I've been saying like this is like a franchise star, but to me, it's like what is the ceiling for Portland? Even if you do have Dame, who's shown that he can still play at a very high level. We've seen it this past year, averaging around 32 a game. They got Scoot Henderson. They still have Simons. They just re-signed Jeremy Grant. So it's like, even if that is the case, like, what is the ceiling? Like, especially in a tough Western Conference.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. What's the ceiling? And I like Jeremy Grant. I know that people look at the contract, and everyone has an opinion on his contract, but 27-4 on 50, 40, 82 splits.
He's good.
I mean, that's you don't get those type of players in the NBA quite often. 28 years old. I don't see what the and again, I think it's because people didn't watch a lot of Trailblazer games because they weren't good, so they didn't see him play. I saw when he came to the Garden and put up 44 on us. I saw that.
That's crazy.
I saw that game. So I remember that one very very clearly. So he's a good player, and I think that they did a great job in keeping him. Whatever the direction they go with Dame, that was the right move. That was the right move, man. It's rare you have players like that efficient at his size, his versatility, his ability to space the floor. So yes, their ceiling, that's the big question, but I think he should wait and just test it out and see. Because if Scoot's really that good right away, here we go, and that'll be a dynamic duo. And then from there, trade Nurkic, try to get something from him, try to get a big something, man, and try to see if we can contend. So see if we get into the top 10. That's it. That's my point there with Scoot and the Trailblazers. And I think all three of these guys are going to have great rookie seasons. I truly believe that for the top three.
I hope so, man, because I'll be real, man. It's like I think if Scoot does end up having like especially if it comes up the gates like red hot, bro, it's gonna be a lot of pressure on Brandon Miller, especially because there's a lot of people that like have the same opinion as you, that have the same perspective. Like they should have taken Scoot as a number 2 option to pair him with LaMelo Ball in that backcourt. So if Scoot comes out of the gates like looking like a rookie favorite possibly, or possibly second behind Victor Wembanyama, it's gonna be a lot of pressure on Brandon Miller.
Yes, it is. It is. Another guy who's not really a rookie, but technically he is, Chet Holmgren, and
Been looking good too.
Put on 13 pounds since being out since last year. So now I believe he's 208 after coming into the league 195. Okay, that's what I like to see. If he could get to like 235, 240.
Yeah, I'm saying because I mean 208 is good. Like it's definitely good, but like when you're going up against like NBA bigs, like it's not enough. So I definitely hope that he continues to put more on.
If he could get to 240 and still keep his lateral quickness, we him and Walker Kessler will definitely will be two of the best American centers we have in the next decade. I truly believe that. And his ability to block shots and alter shots around the rim is sensational, man. Getting 2-hand blocks. One thing I saw from him also is he's not shooting a bunch of threes. He's getting the basketball, like I said, where Jokic and Embiid and where Victor needs to get the basketball at to excel. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing him get the basketball there as well. Last year in the summer league, he was just standing at the 3-point line. Why? Because he didn't have the strength to blow by guys. Now he's getting much stronger. He can shrug guys off. He still has a solid handle, rising up. Floaters, mid-range shots. You're taller than everybody else. You don't need to shoot a 3. You can take the midi. You're taller than everybody. I've been very high on Chet Holmgren, and I feel like he's the missing piece for that Oklahoma City Thunder team.
Easily,
no question about it.
Now you got to think. I mean, this team was what one playing game or playing win away from the playoffs.
Right, exactly. So he comes in, and if he could get 17 and 11, two blocks, maybe, I think more with the amount of possessions we see in the league today, 2.5, maybe 3 blocks a game. They should be in the playoffs. Nick. I truly believe that, and he's someone I'm definitely going to be looking out for next year. And then last but not least, these young cores. Wow. Houston Rockets, Detroit Pistons, Orlando Magic.
Orlando, yeah.
Those are the 3 teams that I'll be looking at this season. Are they going to win a bunch of games? Maybe. I think the Rockets. I don't know if they're going to make the play-in. I'm not going to say play-in, but I think they're going to surprise people. They're going to be much better than 22-60. I can guarantee you that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think them, and I'll say this. I think I don't think this team is going to get into the play-in either, but I think Detroit would be like right there, like kind of like knocking at the door, maybe like 11 or 12 possibly. Like if they can stay healthy, like to me, if they can stay healthy, they got the talent. I think they could possibly add some more veteran pieces, but I think they're going to be knocking on the door.
Yes. It's not going to be blowouts. They're not going to be the team that when you look on the schedule like, oh, it's the Pistons. It's the easy dub tonight. I don't see that. I really don't see that. And the Rockets, with the veterans they added, with the improvement of the young players they already have, and like you said earlier at the top of the segment, Jabari Smith Jr.
He's looking good.
Yeah, he's looking really good.
He ended his rookie year on a high note too, so he's carrying that over to the summer league, man. That's good.
Carrying it right over. 30-point game so far in the summer league. Had a 35-point game tonight. You talked about the game winner he hit on Friday. Might be the number 1 option going.
I mean, it could possibly be him. It could be Sengun.
I think him and Sengun need to be the number 1 and 2 options, bro. I like Jalen Green. He's dynamic, great shooter. I think he's going to continue to get better. But Sengun and Jabari Smith Jr., I feel like those need to be the number 1 and 2 options on that team. Now, I'm not saying next year per se, but going forward, if they want to have success and Şengün's ability to also pass the basketball too, he's an unselfish player. His playmaking, he can rebound, he can do a little bit of everything. And you seen Jabari Smith could do a lot of everything too. He's a guy that's getting to his spots so early in his career. He's still 19, I believe.
I mean, people forget it. He was the third best player in last year's draft behind Paolo and Chet.
Yes, and I think he's going to be an excellent basketball player, man. And also Tari Eason.
Tari Eason looking nice.
Yeah,
he's looking good.
Yeah, that team with Udoka coaching these young guys, man, he's going to have those guys ready to go. So I'm very high on the Rockets' future, man. I think they're going to be one of the best young teams going forward for sure. Detroit. The thing I see with Detroit is I'm a fan of their young players, but I see Cade, Ivy, and Amen. They're all not great floor spacers. So your 3 primary ball handlers.
They got my bad. A star. I'm in Houston. Yeah.
Asar. They're all not great floor spacers. Right. So if your 3 primary ball handlers aren't great shooters, that could be a problem. But if those guys could continue to improve and develop as floor spacers, it's over. It's a wrap. And Jalen Duren. Now, Knicks had him for for a quick second there. Yeah, literally a couple seconds. I was seeing him doing tween pull-up mid-range jump shots at 6'11", and I saw him doing one-handed lob tonight. Yeah, he continues to get confident, gets his confidence up. That starting 5. If it's Cade, Ivy, Asor, Jalen, and Wiseman.
Yeah, that's going to be the question there for them because they got a lot of bigs. Like they got Duren, they got Isaiah Stewart, they got James Wiseman. James Wiseman came into this team. He actually played well to close out the year. Marvin Bagley. So that's still going to be the question. It's kind of like with Orlando. Orlando has a lot of guards. Detroit has a lot of bigs that they're going to have to figure out.
I think that should be their starting 5, man. That's that 5 I just said. I think that should be their starting 5, and they should learn how to play together right now. Because we've seen Duren. As long as he continues to work on his shot, him and Wiseman could shoot. Again,
Wiseman can shoot
a lot. I don't want these guys shooting a lot, but I say it's going to be from 1 through 3. Those 3 guys have to become better floor spacers for this to work, because that paint would be too clogged. So if they work on that, watch out.
Do you think Monty Williams is possibly going to start a star over Bogdanovic? Because I actually just remember he's on the team too.
No, probably not, because unless he gets traded sometime before the season starts, which is a possibility, he'll probably start the season, and then at some point, the first few games of the season, he'll probably get traded to a contender. I mean, he's been a name that's been talked about in trade talks for the last few years or so. So I don't even know why a deal hasn't been. I know they were looking for a first-round pick. That's probably why he hasn't been traded yet. The teams are probably like, "Whoa, chill out! Like first-round pick, relax." But he's a very valuable player. 3D wing, can also put the ball on the floor, get to his spots. Also, really good player. So I don't think a Sor will start right away. I think it'll still be Bogdanovic, and I think that'll probably make the most sense too because of what I'm saying. You need some shooting in there in that lineup. But yeah, it's going to be a battle for those bigs that you said. It's going to be a battle, no question about it. And I'm excited to see how that plays out. But that young core, and I forgot even the Pacers young core.
Pacers young core is nice.
Well, they were the 4th seed for a minute before Halliburton got hurt, and those injuries started to pile up, and they just weren't able to recover. But they were the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, and now you add Obi Toppin, and the improvement of Benedict Mathurin. Benedict Mathurin now Chris Duarte is in Sacramento, so now that's more minutes for Mathurin. I think Mathurin will be. I think the starting lineup for the Pacers should be Halliburton, Mathurin, Bruce Brown, Toppin, and Miles Turner.
You don't think
And
Buddy Hield?
I think Buddy Hield should. I think Buddy Hield should come off the bench. I think Buddy Hield should come off the bench. Not
I mean that honestly, that is interesting
Shooter.
because last year Mathurin came off the bench and he provided a spark for them in that second unit.
He did. But when you look timeline wise, I just feel like it makes the most sense to have Mathurin in there. That's your guy for the foreseeable future. That's the guy that's going to be there with Halliburton timeline wise. So I just feel like it just make more sense to have him out there and for those guys to develop on-court chemistry in that starting lineup right away. And then even if you have Hield coming off the bench, you got Hield, Nembhard, Isaiah Jackson, Jarris Walker, the player that they drafted this year. Man, Rick Carlisle, championship head coach, high on that team as well. Very high on that team. So, yeah, this is why I like the summer league, man. You start to see these young teams that may not win a bunch of games right now, but you could see down the road, like, hey, if everything works out, if this player does this, if they get this player or this player improves in that area, you can see something special. So I'm excited for those teams we mentioned, and so far it's been a really good summer league.
Yeah, another team I just started thinking about as a recent man, maybe just because I watched them last night, but I'm excited about Utah. I'm not really never really high on the Utah Jazz, but I'm looking at it like from last season. Obviously Lauri Markkanen had a most improved type year. I think that he should be the number one option moving forward. But I mean, you still got guys like Jordan Clarkson. Obviously, I mean, we mentioned Keontae George earlier. The trade for John Collins was amazing. I think that he's going to be able to thrive with that organization as well. And then, of course, you have a few other options. Walker Kessler, like you mentioned, we're both very high on him. So I know that they don't really fall into the mix of, Detroit or, Houston or Orlando. But, I mean, that should be another team to look out for, too.
1,000%. 1,000%. I still feel like they're missing, like, a point guard.
I agree.
Or
honestly, make Keontae the point guard.
It could be.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to do that.
Yeah, he continues to improve. You go George, Clarkson, Markkanen, Collins, and Kessler, because that's what they have to do, right? They're going to use these draft picks they acquired from Donovan and Gobert, and one or two of those picks have to hit. They just have to. They got to hit at some point. I know they're not going to be super high picks because Minnesota is still really good. But whether you accumulate those picks to go up in the draft and get a better player, those picks have to hit, man. Because you got how many picks they got? Like 9 picks combined from the Gobert.
Trade. For that Gobert trade, yeah.
So yeah, man. I agree. I'm a fan of Utah, and I get it, but I think this is a new regime. You got Danny Ainge in there, Will Hardy. Will Hardy, one of the best young head coaches in the NBA. One of the most creative offensive head coaches in the NBA. They're going to be really good. They're going to be really good, man. And again, John Collins will 1,000% excel in that offense. I think we will see a very lively and improved John Collins in Utah for sure.
Could possibly happen.
Sir.